guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Friday. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I have a quick word for you. Tap in. Happy Friday, guys. So I've been reading your emails and your messages. You guys are looking for me with a flashlight in the daytime. There's times that I travel more frequently than others, and when I'm traveling, I don't get the downloads that I get when I'm in solitude, when I'm at home and everything's calm. When I'm traveling, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of, you know what comes with traveling. So it's really hard to really hear spiritual downloads, at least for myself. Maybe some people hear in chaos. I'm not even sure. I don't. But I want to share a few things that I did get to share. In fact, I wasn't going to even make this recording, and I kept getting convicted to make it. So I want to make this really quickly. If you are dealing with anything emotionally, and most chosen people are right now, most chosen people are dealing with emotional issues right now. That can be a number of things. That can look like a marriage falling apart. That can look like a breakup you're going through. That can look like grief. That can look like maybe you're just not feel like you're hearing from God and you have no direction, or you may have gotten tied back up in some type of sin and you feel like God's not hearing from you, right? It could be a lot of different reasons on why you're dealing with things that are very emotionally. But here's the thing, you have to be very, very careful, and you have to know where you are and what you're dealing with, because if not, the enemy will literally get into your head and start dropping downloads in attempting to get you to make a move, but that move is going to be more so less on your emotions, vice versa, the Holy Spirit guiding you. So a lot of the times when you're dealing with emotional things, the one thing we want to do is we want to escape the feeling. Right? Yes, that hasn't changed, guys. Nothing have changed about my phone. You want to escape the feeling. Whatever escape looks like for you, you want to escape it. And that's fine. Sometimes you just need to get away, seriously, right? But I'm talking about major issues. I'm talking about relocation. I'm talking about leaving that marriage. I'm talking about leaving that job, right? These very major decisions. Be very careful that you're not going to make a major decision based on your emotions and trying to escape the hurt, the pain, or whatever you may be going through. God will always make it very, 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 very clear to you when he's calling you to make a major decision. God has to make it clear to you. So what he'll do is he'll keep confirming it in your spirit. Then things will start to literally align naturally, not forcefully, but things will start to align naturally in the area that he's calling you to. Then he'll start using confirmations, because of course, sometimes when you're dealing with emotional things, you start to even question, well, is that God? Is that a familiar spirit? Is it me? He'll start to confirm to you, let it be through people, or this may be even confirmation for you right now. He'll start to confirm it to you, and then things will start to align naturally, align so greatly that at some point you won't even question if it's God. You will know if it's God. But sometimes that takes a little bit of time, especially when you're dealing with emotional situations, because you're kind of like all over the place. So if you feel like you don't know, you may feel like you really think, and I think so. Don't move too quickly, right? Because what's for you is for you. You can't miss it. You can only miss things when you lag behind God so much, when he's made it, extremely clear to you. And then it's your own fear factor that's holding you back. Then you can miss God in certain things. But when it's something that he knows that you're still a little bit confused about, because of maybe you just came out of some type of an attack or a difficult season, he knows what you're going through. So he'll be patient and he'll keep making it so clear to you that you have zero question marks about it. So if you don't have that yet, be still, but just be aware of your downloads. Be very, very aware that you're not being so distracted that you can't hear. The next thing is, okay, we all know, chosen ones, that we've been through an extensive pruning season maybe in the last year or even longer for some people. But then there's a few people that were lagging behind, and you may have not felt the complete conviction to remove them or like cut them off, literally, like meaning this is it, like that was your last warning, right? Your time is up, that type of thing. He's making that very clear to you now, so much so, like, listen, in fact, I told you 2 months ago not to respond anymore. I told you 2 months ago that season is done. I told you 3 months ago that I'm going to allow that person to keep putting certain kind of pressure on you where it makes it obvious that they don't even care about what you're going through. Instead, they're going to be focusing more on what they can get from you, et cetera, et cetera. He's going to make it very clear to you. I told you to leave that relationship alone. I've allowed them to cheat. You're still going back. So now I'm going to allow them to leave you. Like he's making it very clear in a number of ways that this is it. But again, as a chosen one, at my empath, what do you want to do? You want to try to hold on and try to savage other people's feelings, because you know, as a chosen one, when you walk, they're going to feel the presence being removed. Well, at this point, it's obedience over emotions. Are they thinking about your feelings? How are they thinking about your feelings? If they keep crossing you, if they keep using and abusing you, if they keep taking advantage of you, if they're not reciprocating and have zero reciprocity, how are they thinking about you? They're thinking about themselves. Many of you are in a season where things are so heavy for you that this is not a season where you can even allow other people to dump their stuff on you. Now, you may have been in seasons before where it could be a very, very strong season for you, right? A season of just everything's going great. Then you can handle dealing with other people's stuff. Just depends on what that stuff is. But many of you are in a season now where you have to understand that you can't be a shoulder in every season. Some seasons, things can be so bad that if you're not careful, the enemy will snatch your mind, literally. You just have to know where you are. But religion will make you feel like you can be literally crawling, not even knowing if you're going to have your mind tomorrow. But religion will tell you to take on everybody else's problem, allow people to keep pouring and dumping their stuff on you, calling you with whatever their needs. They're not even checking on you. They need. Now, let's be clear. Some people are graced to do that even in difficult seasons, such as pastors and things like that. And even then, you got to be careful. That's why a lot of pastors like have mental breaks, and even so you got to get to the point where you realize the higher you go, the less you're going to be able to accept of other people's stuff. Many of the chosen people have entered or entering seasons that's going to be the best season of your lives, meaning you're going to have so much abundance and overflow that God is preparing you now, where he's helping you to release these things, these mindsets, these people, these ways. He's allowing you to release that stuff now because it can't go. So you can choose to keep it, them, or whatever around, but that's going to literally limit how far you can go. That's going to limit if that door can open. So you got to get to the point where it's obedience over emotions. I don't care what I feel. I have to move on obedience, or I'm going to miss a whole open door. I'm going to miss a whole open blessings. Blessing. Really quickly, this just popped up. For some of you, the promise that you feel God gave you years ago, and you remember at the beginning, it was I'm getting off soon. Please bear with me. At the very beginning, it was very, 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 very profound. Remember, it wouldn't leave your spirit. Remember, you tried to run away from it. Remember, you asked God to take that thing from you because it wouldn't manifest, but he wouldn't allow it to leave your spirit. And then at some point, you start to lose a desire. Years later, maybe months for some, but you start to lose a desire from the promise. Right? And then, in fact, many of you had said that in the comment sections. I remember reading it. Many of you have started to lose a desire from the promise, meaning it was not heavy in your spirit like that. It wasn't chasing you any longer. You truly had surrendered it. In fact, you didn't even really care. You started looking for something else, a different path. Maybe I heard God wrong. Maybe I was on the wrong path. Let me try something different. And it completely left your spirit. And that may be the case for some people, meaning you heard God wrong, whatever. You got to know where you are. But for some of you, the reason why God is not allowing you to move forward, or it's almost like you're trying to open a certain door. You're trying to relocate. You're trying to leave that job, trying to leave this marriage, trying to leave that. Like, it seems like he's not opening a certain door, even though you feel like the desire for the promise have left you. It could be because the desire for the promise have changed, in the sense of, how can I explain what I feel in my spirit? Where it's not going to now be you chasing the desire of the promise, or chasing the promise, or the idea of the promise. It's now going to be chasing you. And see, energy is real. When you're chasing something, it runs from you. But now that you've pulled back and you fully surrender, and God have removed that hastiness, that anxiety feel from you, now it's time for the promise to find you. So for some of you, it's not that you heard God wrong. He just removed that desire for your own safety. He removed that desire so you can see it correctly. So now when it arrives, you will know exactly the way God needs you to handle that promise versus the way you thought you were supposed to deal with it. You're going to be able to see the purpose in it now versus the fleshly side of things that you were once kind of focused on, if that makes sense. I wanted to share that. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.